tax revenues dry up as government programs boom. The recession is starving the government of tax revenue, just as the President and Congress are putting together a major expansion of health care and other programs on the nation's plate, and struggling to find money just to pay the tab. The numbers could hardly be more dramatic or stark. Tax receipts are on pace to drop at least 18% this year, the biggest single-year decline since the Great Depression, while the federal deficit balloons to a record $1.8 trillion. That is a lot of money in so short a time. And other figures or data in an AP analysis underscore the recession's impact. Individual income tax receipts are down 22% from a year ago. Corporate income taxes are down 57%. Social Security tax receipts could drop for only the second time since 1940. And Medicare taxes are on pace to drop for only the third time ever. And the last time the government's revenues were this bleak or bad, the year was 1932, in the midst of the Great Depression. Our tax system is already inadequate to support the promises our government has made, said a former Treasury Department official who is now Vice President of the Peter G. Peterson Foundation. He said, "This just adds to the problem, making it worse." And while much of Washington is focused on how to pay for new programs such as overhauling health care at a cost of at least $1 trillion over the next decade, if not sooner, existing programs are feeling the pinch also. Social Security is in danger of running out of money much earlier than the government projected just a few months ago. Highway, mass transit, and airport projects are at risk because fuel and industry taxes are declining. And the national debt already exceeds $11 trillion and growing rapidly. And bills just completed by the House would boost domestic agency spending by 11% in 2010 and military spending by 4%. For the report, the AP annualized annual tax receipts dating back to the inception of the federal income tax in 1913. Tax receipts for the 2009 budget year were available through June. They were compared to the same period last year. The budget year runs from October to September, meaning there will be 3 more months of receipts this year. So then, is there a way out of this or the financial mess? Of course, a key factor is the economy's health. The future of current programs, not to mention the new ones, will depend largely on how fast the economy recovers from the recession or depression, or whatever you want to call it. The numbers for 2009 are striking, head-snapping. But what really matters is what happens next. Yes, that is very important. So what happens next? If it's just 1 year, then it's a remarkable thing. But it's totally manageable. If the economy doesn't recover soon, though, doesn't matter what your social, political, or economic agenda is. Most likely, there's not going to be any revenue to pay for it, or to pay for all these things. A small part of the drop in tax receipts can be attributed to new tax credits for individuals and corporations enacted in February as part of the $787 billion economic stimulus package. The sheer magnitude of the tax decline, however, points to the deep or deepening recession that is reducing incomes, wiping out corporate profits, and straining government programs. Also, the economy cannot continue to keep losing hundreds of thousands of jobs month after month. You must have job creation to have a real economic recovery. And Social Security tax receipts are down less than a percentage point from last year, but in May the government had been projecting a slight increase. At the time, the government's best estimate was that Social Security would start to pay out more money than it receives in taxes in 2016, but the fund would be depleted totally before or by 2037 unless changes are enacted. But some experts say the sour economic crisis has made those numbers outdated. You could easily move that number up 3 or 4 years. Then you're talking about 2013, or maybe before even that, and that's not very far off, said an associate professor of insurance and risk management at the University of Pennsylvania. The government's projections include best and worst case scenarios. Under the worst, Social Security would start to pay out more money than it received in taxes in 2013, and the fund would be depleted by or before 2029. Actually, it could be even worse than that. The fund's trustees are still competent. The solvency dates are within the range of the worst case scenario, said the Social Security Administration's acting deputy commissioner. So, the recession's toll on Social Security makes it even more urgent for Congress to address the fund's long-term solvency. And over the past year, millions and millions of older Americans have watched their retirement savings crumble or melt away, making the guaranteed income of Social Security more important than ever before. Medicare tax receipts are also down less than a percentage point for the year. But Medicare started paying out more money than it received last year. Meanwhile, the recession is taking a toll on fuel and industry excise taxes that pay for highways, mass transit, and airport projects. Fuel taxes that support road construction and mass transit projects are on pace to fall for the second straight year. Receipts on taxes or from taxes on jet fuel and airline tickets are also dropping rapidly, meaning Congress will have to borrow more money, borrow more money, to fund airport projects and the Federal Aviation Administration, the FAA. And U.S. Chamber of Commerce, which doesn't back many tax increases, supports increasing the federal gasoline tax, currently 18.4 cents per gallon. Yes, that'll definitely, or that should be increased also to pay for all the roadways. So, not since the Great Depression has tax revenue, U.S. government tax revenue, fallen so much or so rapidly. That is a key indicator, or you could call it a key sign, that the recession is actually continuing, ongoing. And everything that must change rapidly. And these are more signs of the end times transition days. And there are many, many signs happening every day.